That was Cam Neely, a month or so ago?
Yeah.
Defending the drafting track record of Don Sweeney.
Which is amazing.
It is amazing.
I've actually tried to take that stance before.
No,
I tried.
I mean, you're more, I think, forgiving about his drafting in general than maybe a lot of people, but I don't think you can forgive him at all for 2015. I mean, trying to do that is insane.
It is insane. And also, the draft. He was asked about the draft like overall, and Cam Neely specifically went back to 2015. So he knows how bad that was, and he knows how much crap Sweeney has gotten for it, and rightfully so. Sweeney's been good with trades. Sweeney's been more 50-50, I would say, in free agency. And he's been
last year really looms large in dragging that
Terrible
down.
Good point.
But he had been pretty good with the NHL level moves, yeah.
But the drafts have been overall atrocious. And it's amazing. He makes it sound like in 2015, Don Sweeney was out of hockey, and he just showed up that day of the draft. No, he was the assistant GM or whatever his title was, right?
Yeah.
Like he was with the Bruins. He's like, he never even thought about being the GM. It's like he didn't. Wasn't that like his path? Was that his trajectory?
That should have been its own red flag if that were the case.
And then he's like, guys, that's kind of on us. We should have regrouped during the picks. It's like, you didn't talk in between the picks?
It's crazy.
What is that?
So
they drafted 3 guys. Only DeBrusque is like an NHL player, and then the next 3 picks were all stars in the league.
Yeah, and I think their whole Well, so there's that to be the millionth person to say it. They are still paying for that draft. You can't just be like, oh, that was just one bad draft. That was a draft where you borderline couldn't miss, and they missed over and over and over
3
and over
shots.
again.
I brought up how it's like, N'Keal Harry, but you correctly pointed out it's like drafting 3 N'Keal Harrys and then having A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf.
And like the best guy there is DeBrusque, who's fine.
He's an NHL player.
I mean, the other 2 guys weren't even NHL players. Zaboral,
but that was another one of Sweeney's defense. He was like, a lot of guys we drafted are like they played in the NHL.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Wow, congrats.
That's the baseline now?
Awesome work.
They all kind of stink with a couple of exceptions. Obviously, Charlie McAvoy is a really good pick. That was in 2016, number 14 overall. They got Swayman, and I know right now stock down on Swayman, but that was a fourth-round pick.
That's a good pick.
Good pick. Fourth-round pick. I mean, just about everybody else. Like, I'll give you Trent Frederick, and then you traded him away. And I don't know, maybe minus Lowry will turn into something. We'll see. We've been hearing getting sold a bill of goods on Fabian Lysell. I don't know. It's a bad draft. Now, when I would defend them, and Sweeney didn't even do, or Neely didn't even do this, they've traded a lot of first-round picks at the deadline.
Well, he kind of did. Remember with DuPont, he went back and forth, and he's like, well, where are we drafting? He's like, we're not many top 10 picks.
That's what
he's
like. You got to hit on the top 10. So the other ones, I guess, are all dart throws. So I guess he's not really worried about any of their picks until this year. This year they're in the top 10.
So I just find the whole thing to be such a turnoff, and it's incredible. 10 years ago, that draft was 10 years ago.
Yeah,
and he's still getting flack for it. It's still thrown in his face, and he's still the GM. You could bungle that draft so badly. It's not like they've won a cup in the meantime.
They've not won a cup, but they
went to a cup final.
They went to a cup final, and they've won a lot of games.
Most regular season games in NHL history, and gagged spectacularly. I mean, they've had some massive, massive chokes. They've been through various coaches, as you pointed out. And the guy burned it to the ground in his first draft, and he's still the GM a decade later, and they're rewarding him for missing the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the optics of it. You missed the playoffs, congrats. Here's a 2-year extension, which is just wild. 617-779-7937. We'll get into Bill and his reported engagement.
Yeah, congrats.
Which, as the text line is pointing out, may or may not be news to him based on the way that story was written in the New York Times.
That's true.
There's more items in there. We'll get into that coming up in just a moment. But Bob in Londonderry wants to discuss Don Sweeney's extension. Go ahead, Bob.
Hey, I agree with everything you're saying. It's very obvious. Sweeney was supposed to go a long time ago. Instead, he gets rewarded. But that's just how the world of sports in the regular world works. Politics, it doesn't matter. You fail, you get rewarded. Imagine Brad Marchand. He must be sitting back laughing, going, thank God I'm out of that place. Because I can tell you, come this season, like I've been telling you, do not hold your breath on the Bruins. One, they need a coach. They have no goaltender and nobody that can score. And the guys coming back on the team that are arguably okay are going to be a year older, a year slower, and a year stupider. So I don't know what results you're expecting, but I sure feel bad for the die-hard Boston Bruins fans. it's sad to watch this whole thing fall apart.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
I love the passion, Bob, but I don't agree with all of it.
No, well, what do you disagree with?
They don't have a guy who can score. Pasternak had 60 goals a couple of years ago.
He's a pretty good scorer.
They have a good goal scorer. I wouldn't say they don't have a goalie. They definitely have a goalie who needs to turn it around.
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, he was good. He only played half the games. They asked him to play more games this year. He wasn't ready for camp. So, will Swayman be better? We'll see. I don't know. I'm not as worried about the coach thing. Should I really be really worried about the coach thing? They don't have a coach yet?
Well, you do just wonder if guys want to take the job, right? I mean, so I guess I'd be worried on that level where it's is Sweeney, and really it goes higher than Sweeney. Neely, the Jacobses, the way they've handled some of these coaches, Montgomery and Cassidy.
But if it goes south, they're just going to fire him anyway.
Right, but is there a hesitation to take the job, especially when you look at all the talent they traded away? I mean, maybe that would be my level of concern. I'll tell you what Sweeney should do if you want to win back the fan base a little bit.
Quit.
Well, if he traded Swayman, it would be a popular move. Might not be the right move, might not be a good move. I think the smart thing to do, wait it out, deal with the flack in the meantime, and hope that he has a better year next year because he's outside of this past season, which was a miserable season, a lost season, arguably one of the worst seasons by a Bruins goaltender in the last 25 years. Mm-hmm. You ride it out and you bank on him bouncing back next year. But if you want a popular PR move that would win you back with the fan base a little bit, if they traded Swayman, I think fans would be very much on board.
I think you could still sell a coach on the Bruins. I mean, you could be just down the line. You have Pasternak, McAvoy, Swayman. One of the reasons why the team was so bad last year, you can explain, is that Swayman missed camp and was the whole contract thing. That's settled. That's out of the way. This is how you have to sell it. McAvoy missed a ton of games down the stretch. One of the reasons why they kind of tanked and went in the toilet. But you have those three guys that are all young. They're all under contract. So you sort of center it around them. I don't know. I think that is a solid selling point. And I can't imagine there's super job security with any of the gigs that are open. Right? They're all open for a reason. They all just fired their coach a second ago. NHL coaching doesn't last very long.
No, but the Rangers and Flyers weren't exactly good teams last year, right?
Right.
I mean, the Flyers were worse than you, I think. The Flyers had 76 points, so same as the Bruins. I'm sorry.
There wasn't a lot of teams worse than the Bruins.
They were neck and neck. The Rangers were not a very good team last year. I mean, they were better than the Bruins, but they missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
Those guys they snapped up coaches like that. Mike Sullivan, who the Bruins we think were in on, took the Rangers gig. Rick Tocchet, who we think the Bruins were in on, took the Flyers gig. So those to me look like two guys who either turned you down or preferred another job to the Bruins. So I would say, I have some concerns about that. Yeah. But they're not talentless. I mean, I still think if you believe in Swayman, looking at it with Pasternak, McAvoy, and Swayman, you could talk yourself into a decent core there.
I mean, the Rangers haven't had long coaching tenures. You go back the last several years, it's kind of similar to the Bruins. They had Quinn for 3 years, Gallant for 2, Laviolette for 2. So, I mean, it's not like, we give you a 3-year deal, you're going to see all three of these. Nope, not happening.
Okay, so there's that news today, 617-779-7937. We also have the news that Bill Belichick, and this is, again, according to the New York Times, Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson are reportedly engaged.
She is my muse, my flame.
Pretty good.
Now your wife.
Update that acknowledgments in the book.
Maybe your wife, yeah.
My fiancé. Do you think he says fiancé? You think he's a big fiancé? Well, my fiancé.
I bet in that phase you kind of have to be.
Oh, here's my fiancé.
Well, because if she's ever in earshot and you don't call her the fiancé, you can't be like, that's my girlfriend.
Oh, that's bad news.
That's like, get ready for an all-out war.
I think
if
I did that once.
I did it as well.
Yeah, that's not great.
You're like, that's my girlfriend, and then it's like, you can't be doing
Meet my girlfriend. She's like, my who now? I was like, huh? I swallowed a bug. I gotta go.
Yeah, so I think if she's within earshot, you're contractually obligated.
Or
to call
she's
her
almost like Daenerys Targaryen, where he has like 20 titles. She's like COO of Belichick Industries, my creative muse, my idea mill.
Yeah,
my fiancé.
You got to do the whole thing with her. Yeah. It's a laundry,
breaker of chains, the unburnt Daenerys Stormburn of the House Targaryen. That's her making her way to all these appearances.
Nice.
I'm excited. There's definitely no distractions for the North Carolina football team.
No,
they're going to be ready to go.
You saw they sold out their whole allotment of season tickets, though, right?
They should.
So there you go. I guess
I'm interested.
You can make the argument it's going very well for Bill at North Carolina in some ways. I personally wouldn't make that argument, but I guess there's some material for you to do it.